Chapter 4. The Commandant Russell. Eavesdropping. A gossip stone.
Link, yeah? Good to meet you.
A sullen, dark-haired young girl greeted them when they returned to the Spirit Temple.
I'm Ashe.
Contrary to her appearance, her voice and mannerisms were rather energetic.
Are you a member of the Gerudo?
Link asked.
Good guess.
She shot him a mock salute.
I'm from the Hylia River North Cell. How many members are there?
It was Midna who answered for him.
Only Ganondorf knows for sure. Maybe 100, 2 at the most. There are cells in hiding all over the city, each one maybe 4, 5 members. The Spirit Temple is the headquarters of the whole organization, so members from different cells are here all the time.
Still, this was a much higher number than Link expected.
200 people, that's a lot, isn't it? A drop in a sea,
she said dismissively.
Hey, Ashe. Are you the only one here? Colin is. Boss had some business with him, I just tagged along for the trip.
Her dark eyes turned to Link.
So, the boss is talking about you, yeah? He says you're the next big thing.
Link frowned.
Really? What exactly did he say? Yeah, what, exactly?
Midna echoed. Ashe shrugged.
Nothing too specific. You know how he is. But he mentioned you, so that's something, eh? But he was talking with Colin a whole lot about his father. Ganondorf's father.
Midna smacked Link in the back of the head.
No, moron, Colin's father. He's the commandant of the Royal Guard. Russell. Been a pain in the ass for just about as long as I can remember.
Get this, Ashe glanced back and forth, clearly eager to tell her story.
He's unstoppable. Unstoppable? What does that mean, unstoppable? Let's go inside, I'll tell you.
The three of them moved into a room that was filled mostly with mismatched furniture. Link took a seat in a comfortably plush chair, Ashe sat on the edge of a nearby couch, and Midna collapsed onto another. She leaned forward.
I mean that nobody can stop him. I got to see him fight once in my life, about a year or two after I joined up. It was Ganondorf, Vissen, and these two swordsmen, Oshas, he's with that cell further down along the river now, and... I think his name was Garo. We were doing a full-out strike, Ganondorf wanted one of their armories burned down. They must have had some counterintelligence, because Russell was waiting for us.
Despite herself, Midna had propped herself up on the edge of the couch and was listening to Ashe with interest.
At first, I don't even see what happens. All I know is that 1 second Garo is standing there, waiting for the signal to light the charges we've set. Next second his throat is cut and he goes down, dead in less than a minute. All of it perfectly silent. I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, yeah? So I shout real loud, and that probably saved all our lives, because then the others are right there, and Ganondorf does this magic that lights up the whole place.
Ashe's sullen demeanor had completely vanished in her obvious enthusiasm. Link noted with some distaste that she seemed completely unfazed to be recounting the death of a comrade.
So Russell's standing there, yeah? Just him, by himself. And next thing I know, he isn't, he's running at us and the boss is running at him. And I'm thinking, it's game over for this guy, because he just killed a Gerudo, and the boss makes it a personal point to hunt down anybody who kills one of us. Am I right?
Midna nodded knowingly.
A few years back when that cell in the industrial district was raided, I remember Ganondorf spent a week looking for every single one of the soldiers that did it. That was really the point when things started to escalate. Yeah. Point is, I have never seen anything could beat Ganondorf in a fight, except maybe the Nameless. But this Russell guy, he's fast. Him and Boss Removin so fast, I can't even believe what I'm seeing. And Ganondorf's losing. What?
Midna said flatly.
You heard me. I start seeing blood, and the boss is being pushed back, getting roughed up. Well, next thing he says is get out, and he starts tossing magic and, get this, Russell stops it with his sword. What?
said Link, incredulous.
How? He sorta, I dunno, caught it with his blade and deflected it into the walls. But the magic gets him, it slows him down enough for Ganondorf to get a few good swings in and suddenly both guys are hurt. How did you get out?
Midna asked.
A gentleman's agreement, said Ganondorf. That's right,
Ashe continues.
Him and Russell, what the hell?
Link, Midna, and Ashe jumped a collective 3 feet in the air. Ganondorf was calmly sitting on the couch next to Ashe, somehow having managed to sneak in without any of them noticing.
Ah!
Link's undignified yelp was fortunately overshadowed by Midna, who swore loudly and furiously and accidentally set the couch on fire a little bit.
How the hell did you do that?
Ashe gasped in astonishment.
Trade secret,
Ganondorf said with a sly smile.
I heard you talking about the Commandant, Ashe. Yeah, well. Yeah. I was just telling them the story of that raid we went on a few years back, and it came up.
Skepticism was all over Ganondorf's face.
You always were a bad liar. It wouldn't have anything to do with our business here today, would it?
Ashe shook her head vigorously.
No, never. No. Wait. I don't know what that is, yeah? What is it? My father,
said a new voice. Link turned to see a blonde, timid-looking boy who couldn't have been more than 15 occupy a free seat.
Russell.
Link could only assume that this was Colin. Navi was flitting about his head gleefully.
I thought I heard you talking about how Russell almost killed me. How he was better than me.
Ashe shook her head even more emphatically.
No, boss, you got it all wrong. You are, of course, completely right.
Ignoring everybody's puzzlement, Ganondorf continued.
I underestimated the Commandant. He had killed one of my men, I was angry, and I attacked without thinking. I nearly died that day, and I also made a very powerful enemy. We should never underestimate the people we are fighting against. Underestimate.
Midna finished putting out the small fire she had started.
That ain't the first story I've heard about the Commandant. If I ever see this guy I am running the hell away. Let someone else fight him.
Ganondorf sighed.
Midna. If Princess Zelda herself walked into this temple, what would you do? Fire,
said Midna instantly.
Set her on fire. That's mean,
said Navi.
That's stupid,
said Ganondorf.
Do you see what you've done? You've underestimated your opponent. What, one worthless princess? How tough can she be?
For some reason, Ganondorf glanced sideways at Link when he answered.
Princess Zelda is one of the 3 most powerful people in all of Hyrule. You cannot hope to kill her. Even I do not stand much of a chance.
A tense silence followed this cryptic remark. It was interrupted by Navi.
Who's the 3rd person? You said the 3 strongest, yeah.
Ashe continued the fairy's train of though.
Zelda is 1. You've got to be another one, yeah, boss? Who's number 3? Do you mean my father?
Colin asked. Despite knowing better, however, Link had a sneaking suspicion that Ganondorf may have meant him. This feeling was compounded by the fact that Midna was being entirely unsubtle and staring at him suspiciously.
The Commandant is entirely worthy of our respect,
said Ganondorf, smoothly averting the questions.
You did tell them how we managed to escape, right Ashe? Oh. Yeah.
Ashe continued her story.
So both Boss and Russell were hurt, pretty bad. So Russell agrees to let us go if we leave the armory intact. The one condition that they both have is that they fight again, one-on-one. And did you ever fight him again?
Link asked.
I have no doubt that one day we will. I look forward to it. Hey, that sounds kind of like Midna.
Navi commented, flitting over to the imp and settling on her helmet.
And that thing you keep saying about that guy. You know, that guy. I don't want to talk about it.
Midna flapped her hands uselessly at the fairy.
What's this, now?
Colin asked. Ganondorf answered for Midna, who seemed unlikely to respond.
She has somewhat of a dispute with one of the princess's viziers.
Ashe thought for a bit.
You don't mean... Zant?
Colin supplied. Midna stopped attempting to assault Navi and began hissing swear words under her breath.
Do not,
she said dangerously,
say that name.
Her hands crackled with barely suppressed magic. There was an awkward silence. Navi broke it.
I'm hungry. How about we eat?
Outside, darkness had fallen. 2 figures were perched on a collapsed stone archway across the street from the spirit temple, the only signs of life in the deserted street. One of them was short, childlike, and purple.
Where is it?
He asked. His voice, to his perpetual chagrin, sounded like a petulant 10-year-old.
Nearby.
The other one was tall, at least as tall as the leader of the Gerudo himself. However, he held none of Ganondorf's girth and was skeletally thin, garbed in ornate robes. He focused for a moment.
Up,
he said after a while, in a voice that was lilting and a bit manic.
Windfall Street. Perhaps there is a child out of bed. Doesn't matter,
said the short one.
So long as we don't have to deal with it. It won't harm us. I'd rather not put that theory to the test.
The short figure flickered, and there was the sound of rushing wind, and then suddenly he was on the misshapen roof of the spirit temple.
So then,
said Vadi,
which of them will be lucky contestant number 3?
Zant appeared beside him, shards of dark magic fluttering around him, marking his arrival.
She is in there, he said with evident loathing.
Vadi looked up at him. He had to look up quite a ways to make eye contact.
Calm yourself. We have our orders. Nobody dies, at least, not tonight. You can kill her later. We have a job to do.
Zant's head twisted at an odd angle, with an audible crack.
Every minute I wait is another minute she will be in pain.
He vowed.
Yeah.
Vadi was growing tired of his co-worker's unending quest for vengeance, which occupied fully half of everything he ever said.
I get it. You hate her. You want to kill her. Can you please stop talking about it all the time? Help me out here, which one do you think it is? I don't recognize a lot of these people.
Zant bent down to listen to the voices below. They were sharing a meal, apparently. With magic augmenting his senses, he could hear drinks being poured, cutlery clinking, and meat being sliced off the bone. Also, somebody was a very loud chewer.
My dad isn't a bad person. He believes he's doing the right thing.
This was a young man, barely more than a boy. He was the loud chewer.
And I respect him for it. Greatly.
This deep voice, layered with power, could be none other than Ganondorf. Zant had met him before, and had no desire to do so again.
He is a noble man fighting for an unworthy cause. So do we kill him?
Her voice.
Is that the plan? No.
This was another girl, one he hadn't heard before.
We want to avoid him, yeah? At all costs. Don't kill him.
This was the young boy again. He was pleading.
Please. He's a good man, you know that, keep him alive if you can. I know. I know that you're planning something. Something big. I will spare your father if I can,
said Ganondorf.
He is one of the very few people inside of the castle who do not deserve death.
Zant looked up at Vadi, who silently mouthed the words, "Who are they talking about?" This was an interesting benefit of their visit. The son of a high-ranking official was, apparently, a traitor. If they could only get a name, they would have untold amounts of leverage over the Gerudo.
If your father gets in my way,
Ganondorf was continuing,
I will have no choice. I'm sorry. I really am.
The boy was in despair now.
He will, you know he will, he's just like you, he won't give up. We made a deal, I did what you asked me to, will you keep your word? I'll do my best, Colin. But you have to remember that I never promised you anything. You told me, after I helped you. You've helped us all. I won't forget that.
Colin. That was the name of their traitor, who had apparently performed some sort of task for Ganondorf. But who had a son with that name? No matter. He would be found out.
Maybe if you just talk to him, we can work things out.
This was the voice of a fairy. He had heard that a fairy was part of the Gerudo's top cell, and now he knew. This reconnaissance mission was turning up all sorts of hidden treasures.
For the last time, violence is the solution to everything. We've been over this.
Zant could barely stand to hear her voice. He looked up at Vadi and said, "Whisper quiet."
Which one is it? The child? The girl?
Vadi shook his head and replied, equally silent.
Neither. We know Ganondorf is one, and she is not. That leaves the fairy, the child, and the girl. Which is it? There is someone else in the room.
Zant listened to the muted conversation and heard nobody.
If there is someone else there, they are a mute. It must be one of those three. No.
Vadi shook his head.
It's the last one, I'm sure, look out.
Zant turned, but it was too late. On the street below was a man, white-haired, carrying a worn Imperial-issue spear and dressed in rusty armor. Looking straight at the two of them, he smiled, saluted, and entered the spirit temple. Presently, his voice could be heard down below.
"Ho, Link. Heard you and Midna went on a little shopping date today." "Hey Vissen. Don't say the word date, Midna's liable to singe your eyebrows off." "Way ahead of you." "Hey. Stop fighting." "Shut it, fairy." "Midna, calm down."
Zant and Vadi were already gone, making their way across rooftops, up staircases, and through dark and empty streets. Save for a short detour when the Nameless drew near, they headed straight for the castle.
"Well,"
said Vadi cheerfully,
"our princess should be pleased. It seems our hero has a name, and that name is Link."
After dinner, Ganondorf took Link aside to a small, quiet room containing a single battered dresser and a creaky bed.
"These will be your quarters for as long as you are with us." "I never said I wanted to join,"
Link responded.
"The Gerudo sound a bit too radical for me."
Ganondorf was quiet for a bit.
"I understand Midna took you to the market district." "Yes." "You saw what was there? What was done to the citizens of this city?" "I did. It was my understanding that they broke the law."
The Gerudo chieftain stared him dead in the eyes.
"Link. Can you honestly say to me that you approve of what was done to those men?"
He looked away.
"No, I can't." "It will happen again,"
Ganondorf said.
and again, for as long as the princess and her legions rule this city. They will always find new victims, new scapegoats they can blame for all the evil when they do nothing but evil themselves. And what makes you think you'll be any better? You saw what they did to those men. I swear to you, I would never do that."
Link sighed heavily.
"You knew I would join up as soon as you saw me."
He saw that his pack, possessions intact, had been placed by the foot of his bed.
"I did." "Why is that?" "Look at yourself, Link. You will fight for what is just, you will not ignore the suffering of the people, you will stand up for what you believe in. Your courage is something that most people could only wish for." "You've known me a day." "True. But I'm right, am I not?"
He put out his hand. With no hesitation, Link shook it.
"You are. I'm honored to be a member of the Gerudo."
Ganondorf smiled.
"I knew you would be."
There was a knock at the door, and Vissen's voice asked, "Can I come in?" Without waiting for an answer, he stepped inside.
"Hey, congratulations, kid, I hear you're officially one of us now." That literally just happened."
Link and Ganondorf's hands were still clasped together.
"Oh, did I jump the gun a bit, boss?"
Ganondorf laughed.
"A little bit. Working hard, then." "You know it. So what are Colin and Ashe doing here, then?" It's about Russell,
Ganondorf explained, as Vissen made himself at home by reclining on Link's bed. It seemed that at the Spirit Temple the general philosophy extended to what's mine is yours.
He knows that we're looking to eliminate some of the high-ranking threats to the Gerudo before they can get us, and he was asking me to spare his dad.
Ooh, Vissen winced.
Tough call. He may be a nice guy and all, but Russell is public enemy number 2, right after Zelda herself. And there's one thing I'm willing to bet Colin doesn't know. What's that?
Asked Link.
That Zelda is up to something. Something to do with us.
Ganondorf's eyes glittered darkly.
What is it? I couldn't find out much. All I know is that they're looking for somebody, and they think you know where this somebody might be. Also, she told those 2 mages of hers specifically not to kill anyone, which means they'll likely be slinking around somewhere. But, you'll be interested to hear this, odd how these things work out. She summoned Russell and then hurried off somewhere. Not too much later there was a castle-wide search for a mysterious intruder. That mysterious intruder wouldn't happen to be you now, would it?
Link managed to suppress a smile. Ganondorf chuckled. Vissen winked.
You never know. But this does tell us that Zelda, those mages, and the Commandant are up and about, and no doubt it's all to do with us. So it looks like you may need to disregard poor Colin's request. Not quite, said Ganondorf. Colin is a very valuable resource, as you imagine the son of the Commandant might be. For example, he was able to procure us this.
His sentence was punctuated by a shining blue stone appearing in his hand.
Is that what I think it is?
Vissen whispered in awe.
A gossip stone, answered Ganondorf. There's not 50 of them in all of Hyrule, and now we've got one. What's it do?
Link asked. He noticed that the stone was not resting on Ganondorf's palm, but rather floating in the air just above it.
All manner of things, said Vissen. But there is one thing in particular that we are rather interested in. And that would be... You will find out soon enough.
Ganondorf vanished the glowing stone in a glitter of blue light.
Enough about that for now. Did Midna buy you some clothing today? Yes. Why?
Ganondorf pulled open the drawers of the battered dresser, revealing clothing of various styles and quality. All of it seemed understated and a little bland.
Starting today, you blend in. Wear what everybody else is wearing. Don't draw attention to yourself. Everybody knows who you are, nobody knows your name. Says the man whose face is beaten into every guard's head,
Vissen snickered. Ganondorf ignored him.
You can lose the green tunic, unless you're on a job with us. If you're just walking around, dress poor. You are now a criminal. People will try to kill you. Your survival depends on not being recognized. I don't know what I've gotten myself into, do I?
Link asked, only half joking.
No,
answered Ganondorf and Vissen, perfectly serious. He sighed again. They went to leave. Ganondorf stopped at the door.
By the way, be sure you get a good night's sleep. Why's that?
He laughed.
Your first mission is tomorrow.
Chapter end.